I mean, she's worked with Alfred Hitchcock, annoyed Anthony Hopkins, and slept with Danny Kaye.
You have a characteristic, in all seriousness, that's so valuable to an actor.
Shirley MacLaine was once a shining symbol of Hollywood, a talented and bold actress with a career spanning more than half a century.
Shirley brings an extraordinary emotional coloration to the art of life and to the performing arts that is so vivid.
But surprisingly, she treated her own daughter in an almost unbelievable way. It is difficult to understand what could make a mother drive her own child to speak such painful words. A woman once praised as a symbol of strength and independence. Why, in her daughter's eyes, did she become so terrible? Watch until the end to see whether Shirley MacLaine truly deserved to be called the worst mother.
14 years old, actually the age of my daughter, and I was left, literally, at boarding school in Switzerland. Nobody came to pick me up. I really did not know what I was going to do.
Shirley MacLaine appeared on the Broadway stage in her early 20s and quickly drew attention from industry professionals for her confidence and expressive acting style. Starting with minor roles in musical productions, she stood out for a natural versatility that contrasted with the traditional image of actresses of that era.
Jerry thinks she's gone too far already.
In 1954, director Alfred Hitchcock noticed her rising potential. Her early performances in The Trouble with Harry and Around the World in 80 Days helped her enter Hollywood's circle of promising talents. At the same time, her independent personality and unconventional thinking made her one of the most sought-after names among major film studios. Her career advanced with Some Came Running in 1958, earning her a first Academy Award nomination.
The winner is Shirley MacLaine.
She showed an ability to combine humor with emotional nuance, strengthening her reputation. Soon after The Apartment and Irma la Douce established her as a defining figure of American cinema. During this period of growing fame, Shirley MacLaine met Steve Parker, an American producer living in Tokyo. They married in 1954, while her career was rapidly ascending. Their union drew public interest for its open arrangement, something unusual in American society of the 1950s. Shirley MacLaine and Steve Parker agreed to maintain emotional freedom. She told the press that they trusted each other completely and did not feel obligated to follow traditional expectations of marriage. Her view was bold and controversial, especially for the time. In interviews, she said that marriage was not an obligation, but a partnership of freedom. Steve Parker worked in Japan, and she remained in Hollywood, each pursuing separate career paths. That distance became for them a symbol of individual autonomy. On September 1, 1956, their daughter Sachi Parker was born, while MacLaine was filming in Europe. As a new mother, she did not plan to reduce her workload. The media portrayed her as a modern woman balancing family and career, though the real situation differed from that image. Shirley MacLaine often stated that she did not have a child to stay home caring for her full-time. She once said, "I didn't have a child to stay home changing diapers. I had a child so she could learn independence." Her words reflected a philosophy that placed personal freedom above conventional motherhood. When Sachi was 2, Steve Parker returned to Japan for business, while Shirley MacLaine stayed in the United States to maintain her demanding career. She signed major contracts, traveled frequently, and remained mostly absent from her daughter's daily life, believing distance would help Sachi develop independence. In Tokyo, Steve Parker built a stable life and formed wide social connections. Over time, he grew closer to his daughter. Shirley MacLaine had limited opportunities to strengthen her bond with Sachi, and the structure of their marriage gradually caused the mother-daughter relationship to fade. Hollywood continued to celebrate Shirley MacLaine's achievements. She received repeated Oscar nominations, appeared at major award shows, and became an emblem of a new generation of self-directed actresses. Her public image projected glamour, confidence, and complete personal freedom. Behind this success, her family life was growing increasingly distant. The pursuit of absolute freedom in marriage contributed to a widening emotional gap. While MacLaine worked continuously, Sachi was raised primarily by her father in Tokyo. Behind the accomplishments and acclaim, Shirley MacLaine was about to make a decision that would take her life and her daughter's life onto two separate paths. The long isolation. In 1958, Sachi Parker was sent to Tokyo at the age of 2. Steve Parker welcomed her into a luxurious apartment in the city center where he lived with his newly married Japanese wife. For Sachi, this was the beginning of a childhood that felt foreign and lacked the warmth of a family. During her early years in Tokyo, she hardly understood why she had been separated from her mother. Steve Parker was busy with business and rarely at home. Her stepmother, quiet and strict, became her primary caregiver. The house was silent almost without the sound of a child's laughter. From the moment she learned to speak, Sachi was taught more Japanese than English. Whenever she mentioned her mother, adults avoided the topic or gave vague replies. Letters from the United States arrived only a few times a year, accompanied by small gifts and brief notes from Shirley MacLaine. At 5, Sachi was placed in a boarding school in Tokyo. Every holiday she returned to a home that always felt unfamiliar, like a temporary guest. Her stepmother kept her distance, and Steve Parker spent most of his time with work and social commitments. In her memoir, Sachi wrote that she saw her mother only 2 or 3 weeks a year. Their meetings often took place in hotels or on film sets. Shirley MacLaine appeared polished and cheerful. Their conversations were brief and superficial. MacLaine sent monthly support payments to Steve Parker, but the amount, about $300 to $500 USD, was small compared to the tens of thousands she earned each month from film roles. Sachi realized her mother could have offered more, chose not to. Lacking emotional support, she learned to take care of herself early. At 12, she worked part-time after school, washing dishes, helping in kitchens, and clearing tables at small eateries near her school. Her earnings were just enough for lunch or second-hand books. Her classmates came from wealthy families and were picked up by their parents every weekend. Sachi watched from the dormitory window. In her memory, Tokyo winters felt colder than anywhere else, not only because of the wind, but because no one was waiting for her. According to Sachi, Steve Parker was not only neglectful, but sexually abusive during her childhood. In a rare moment with her mother, she revealed the truth. Shirley MacLaine responded with silence. She believed her daughter was imagining or exaggerating the story. MacLaine later explained that she did not want to judge without evidence and believed that everyone deserves their own experience to grow. Many questioned this logic, seeing it as a refusal to confront responsibility. Sachi described her childhood as a series of lonely, disoriented years. She wrote, "I lived between two cultures belonging to neither. I had a mother, but I never felt a mother's love." These words became central when her memoir was released. Meanwhile, Shirley MacLaine continued to shine in Hollywood. She appeared in major films, attended parties and television programs, and was praised for her commanding presence. Both worlds, one glamorous, one isolated, never overlapped. Her mother's absence shaped Sachi's guarded personality. She spoke little, kept to herself, and felt intimidated by authority. In boarding school, she rarely shared her real circumstances, choosing silence to avoid attention. Whenever a letter arrived from America, Sachi read it repeatedly. Sometimes it contained only a few lines. "I hope you stay strong and independent." For others, it might have been encouraging. For Sachi, it was a reminder of how far away her mother remained. Entering her teenage years, she grew curious about her mother. She read American magazines and saw Shirley MacLaine beside famous stars at glamorous events. The images filled her with pride, also sadness and resentment. At 18, Sachi decided to return to the United States. She hoped to live with her mother and build a relationship she had never known. America, to her, symbolized opportunity and the possibility of real affection. Shirley MacLaine greeted her with a gentle smile and a few short questions. Everything felt quick and distant. In her early days in America, Sachi realized the gap between them was not only physical, but rooted in years of emotional separation. Her disappointment grew as she tried to become closer, was repeatedly pushed away. Although they lived in the same city, they rarely shared a meal. Sachi came to understand that their relationship could not be repaired with a few late attempts. Childhood ended, the emotional emptiness followed her throughout her return to America. A fractured relationship. Shirley MacLaine's home in Los Angeles was luxurious but cold. According to Sachi Parker, her mother woke early each day to meditate, write, and handle interviews, leaving little time for her. Their rare shared meals were quiet or focused entirely on MacLaine's work. Sachi tried to rebuild their bond by opening up about her difficult childhood in Japan. But Shirley MacLaine responded with detachment. Her only comment was, "Everything is over. Do not bring it up again." To Sachi, the lack of sympathy felt like a new form of abandonment. When Sachi expressed her desire to become an actress, Shirley MacLaine rejected the idea. She said, "You are not talented enough, and do not make people think I am helping you." Sachi felt diminished, and the wound stayed with her. In public, Shirley MacLaine presented herself as a proud mother, though the real relationship behind closed doors was strained. Sachi said her attempts to confide were often met with criticism. Her mother focused more on maintaining her public image than understanding her daughter's emotions. During the years they lived together, Sachi was repeatedly tasked with private errands. She said she had been asked to deliver letters, bring gifts, and even arrange hotel rooms for her mother's personal affairs. She no longer felt like a daughter, but a helper in MacLaine's busy life. When Sachi struggled financially, she called her mother for support. The response shocked her, "You should earn your own money." "I worked as a strip dancer at 17 and still succeeded." The remark was presented as guidance, but struck Sachi as emotionally cold. Sachi also recalled her mother advising her to work in massage parlors in Tokyo if she needed income, saying, "Japanese people respect labor more than complaints." These comments created even greater distance between them. Another unsettling moment was when Shirley MacLaine told her that Steve Parker was not from Earth, but a replica of an extraterrestrial astronaut. The claim frightened Sachi and made her feel her mother was living in a world detached from reality. Shirley MacLaine became increasingly drawn to spiritual teachings, writing books, and lecturing on reincarnation and parallel lives. Sachi attempted to stay grounded, but often felt left behind in her mother's expanding spiritual universe. Friends of the family said Sachi tried to remain patient. She accepted her small place in her mother's life simply to keep the connection alive. Each visit ended in tears, because work always came before relationships in MacLaine's world. One of Sachi's deepest hurts was her mother's refusal to meet her grandson for the first 10 years of his life. Sachi recalled telling her, "You have a grandson," and hearing the answer, "I am not ready to be a grandmother." It broke what remained of Sachi's trust. At one point, Sachi asked to stay temporarily at her mother's home. Shirley MacLaine said, "I only have one bedroom." That moment convinced Sachi the emotional gap between them would never close. In later interviews, Sachi described her mother as intelligent and charismatic, but incapable of nurturing. She said, "My mother lives like a philosopher, not a mother." The statement shifted public perception of Shirley MacLaine. Communication between them faded into long periods of silence. They exchanged only brief holiday greetings. Beneath the surface was a rift that neither addressed. The silence ended in 2013 when Sachi published Lucky Me. The memoir detailed her childhood in Japan and her years living with her mother in the United States. The honesty and specificity startled readers. Sachi wrote, "My mother did not want me to exist as an independent person. She wanted me to be an extension of her image." Many saw this as one of the most severe accusations made by the child of a Hollywood star. Shirley MacLaine responded by saying her daughter distorted the truth and used her name for financial gain. The media split between those who believed Sachi's account and those who defended MacLaine. The conflict became a widely discussed topic described as one of Hollywood's most famous family disputes. It influenced MacLaine's public image and reminded audiences that behind fame and success can be relationships that never heal. Silence had ended, and the truth stepped forward. Lucky Me Memoir. In February 2013, Sachi Parker released her memoir, Lucky Me, My 60 Years With and Without Shirley MacLaine. The book quickly attracted public attention for its detailed portrayal of life with her famous mother. Each page was written with blunt honesty, describing a childhood shaped by distance and emotional neglect. The memoir painted Shirley MacLaine as a woman who valued her career above all else. Sachi Parker wrote that her mother never truly loved anyone but herself, a statement that spread rapidly through major media outlets. Newspapers such as The Guardian, People, and Entertainment Weekly published excerpts, including the controversial quote, "My mother is the worst mother in the world. She gave me to my father in exchange for freedom." The line became a headline across national and international news. The book entered the New York Times bestseller list, creating strong division among readers. Supporters praised Sachi Parker for revealing a truth that many believed the entertainment industry had long concealed. Critics argued she used her mother's name for personal gain. Shirley MacLaine addressed the memoir during an interview on CNN, saying, 99% of what is in the book is fiction. Her tone was calm but firm. She expressed hurt that her daughter had not reached out before publication. MacLaine said the memoir presented a distorted version of the past, written through emotional pain rather than factual accuracy, though she did not provide specific counter-evidence. Her denial fueled more debate. The controversy drew international attention, and the two women stopped appearing together in public. News outlets reported that MacLaine canceled interviews related to the subject, while Sachi declined further comment. Under rising scrutiny, MacLaine filed a defamation lawsuit against her daughter, only to withdraw it soon after. Sources close to her said she wished to avoid turning a family dispute into a prolonged legal battle. Once the public discussion slowed, Sachi Parker left Los Angeles and moved to Texas. Her appearances became rare, limited to small television projects. In her limited interviews, she said she felt no regret about writing the memoir, explaining that it allowed her to find peace with the past. Shirley MacLaine continued her artistic work, appearing in new films and television productions while publishing more books on spirituality. At 91, she maintained a confident and independent presence and rarely addressed the conflict with her daughter. Many observers noted that she adopted a more private lifestyle, spending most of her time meditating and writing at her home in New Mexico. Those who interacted with her described her as calm and composed, choosing simply not to revisit the past. Photographers once captured images of MacLaine walking alone through the Santa Fe desert with a notebook in hand. The solitary figure became a symbol of her life, brilliant in public, quiet in private. Her career remained respected, but her personal world stayed closed. Sachi Parker devoted many years to raising her son Frank and staying far from Hollywood. Friends said she still followed news related to her mother from a distance, but had abandoned hopes of reconciliation. Speaking her truth, she said, was the only way to close the most painful chapter of her life. Frank Parker, now 44, had never met his grandmother. he knew Shirley MacLaine only through her films. In one interview, he said, "I do not resent anyone, but I want my mother to smile one day when she mentions my grandmother." People close to MacLaine said she continued to watch over her daughter and grandson from afar. She occasionally sent gifts on birthdays or holidays, which many saw as late but meaningful attempts to maintain a fragile bond. The public continued to debate the story from both sides. To some, MacLaine was a woman who lived strictly according to her belief in personal freedom. To others, she was a mother who left a lasting void in her daughter's heart. No explanation reconciled their opposing experiences. Critics viewed Lucky Me as more than an accusation. It was the account of a woman searching for identity and healing. The memoir reshaped the public image of Shirley MacLaine, presenting her as both admirable and deeply flawed. The story of Shirley MacLaine and Sachi Parker remains a powerful reminder of the cost of fame. Success can bring recognition and wealth, but it cannot repair relationships or undo emotional wounds. In the end, a mother's silence and a daughter's pain formed a lifelong scar, one that Hollywood could not hide. If you want to explore more true stories behind Hollywood's spotlight, subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications so you will not miss upcoming videos.